is only war.
What is up, gents? 40k Dirtbags here. We're doing a What is up, gents? 40k Dirtbags here. We're doing a how-to guide player place terrain video for you guys. I wanted to get these out as soon as possible, right before 10th edition happens, so you guys can start practicing, go to your RTTs and GTs that are coming up. I have one actually next week that is going to be using player place terrain. The terrain piece that we're using is provided by Mark, who's one of our Patreons. He printed these out, 3D printed, which look amazing. They are, I believe, the WTC style with the big building. We have the little ones, which are like the medium-sized ruins. We have the forest, and then we have two craters. Sorry, crates that you guys be using. You'll be seeing these a lot at the big GTs. But before we get into the video, I just want to appreciate you guys clicking on the video. If you guys are new to the channel, we do a lot of how-to videos, a lot of battle reports. It's more of a competitive / laid-back style channel. And I do appreciate my Patreons. You guys are fucking awesome. Without you, we couldn't do all this, upgraded work to the channel. But just to let you guys know kind of who I am, I've been playing the game for about 2.5 years now. I started way back when. Took a long hiatus playing another game and then came back during 9th edition. When I came back because the Grey Knights had a new codex coming out, so I came back, joined the Grey Knights, and ranked up to #1 Grey Knight player in the world. And then this season, for Arcs of Omen, I'm actually currently ranked #1 Chaos Space Marine player in the world. So just to let you guys know kind of who I am and what I'm trying to do is teach you guys how to get better at the game. And to do that, it's basically growing this channel. We started, from 1 subscriber, now we're up to 2,600 subscribers. We want to keep growing, and we want to keep that growing by growing the Dirtbag Nation. So Dirtbags, all about 40k. With 10th edition, it's the opportunity to kind of grow the channel as a whole. So appreciate all my support. If you guys are interested, we are selling merch. I got to give a shout out to myself. There's merch for the objective markers, there's stickers, there's dice. There's a lot of ways to support us. But it really just happens to you guys sharing the channel and telling your buds to go check us out. There's a lot of events coming up. We went to LVO last year. We had player place terrain. We actually ranked 20th place at LVO with Grey Knights, which got us to the #1 spot Grey Knight player. And then we have Nova, which is coming up this year. And then we're going to probably ACO, which is going to be about a month from now. So if you guys are there, definitely come up and say hi. That's going to be fucking awesome. But Nova, ACO, Atlantic City Open, which are going to be my 2 major GTs, and then LVO, which will start January next year. It's kind of be my first GT of next year. But hopefully we grow it, and hopefully these videos find you guys well, and hopefully this will help you out so that way we keep making videos. I listen to the comments a lot, so that way we kind of get the channel better. The first comment was obviously the microphone. We got a new mic. Next comment was the camera. We got more cameras. The other comment was explaining more. We explained more lights. Like, we're trying to really grow it as much as possible, and really it's all thanks to you guys. So let's get into the channel, or the video. We're going to be doing the player place terrain. I'm going to be kind of giving you what I'm thinking while I'm doing it, also explaining where you want to set stuff up and why you want to set stuff up like that. So I'm going to try and make it as simple as possible in the video, just so you guys can grasp what you're trying to do. Now, when I first started player place terrain, I wasn't super excited about it because I didn't know a lot about it. I never played it before. So just that insight of not knowing what it is got me to not like it. Then I played it once and I was like, this isn't bad. Then I played it again. I was like, wow, this is cool. You can actually control where the shit goes. Then I played it again and I was like, I fucking love player place terrain. So I feel like it's the most even, but it's also a game within a game. Mike says it all the time, where you are playing a game, a psychological game, before you even fucking roll the dice. So that's really what it comes down to. So with the video, we're going to be placing these terrain pieces. The first one's going to be the big L. A lot of them are going to be L's. I'm going to not do all of the terrain, but it's going to be 1 big L on both sides. It's going to be 2 medium on both sides, and then a forest on both sides, and then 2 crates on both sides. Now, how these work is you have to read the mission packet. Before you go to the tournament or the RTT or GT, wherever you guys are going, they always give you the mission packet ahead of time. So you want to read over that, make sure all the rules you know ahead of time, so that way you can practice before you go to the tournament and you're very prepared. If you want to download it, make sure you have it printed out so that way you can use it every single time. It gives you what the terrain pieces count at, whether they're being dense, going over terrain where it's impassable, breachable, all the keywords, they'll tell you for each specific terrain piece. At LVO, there was about 5 different tables that you could potentially get to, and each table had its own keywords. So make sure that you're reading over that before you go to the tournament. Next is you have to know how far they are set up. So they'll tell you how far you can set up different pieces within different pieces. So if I were to set this up, I could set this up on the table, and then I could put these about 4 inches away, or outside of 4 inches away from the big pieces. Same with the forest. Anything that's dense, or the container, stuff like that, you can put them 4 inches away. And then if it's another ruin like this, you can put it 6 inches away from the other table piece. So just to give you an example, let's see if you guys can see the overhead thing. So we have this piece of terrain right here. Let's say we won first turn and we place this right here. We would have to measure 6 inches from this terrain piece to put another terrain piece like this. So we have to make sure that it's at least 6 inches away, also 6 inches away from the table edge, like this. So if I would go like this, that's 6 inches away, 6 inches away. That piece would legally be able to be placed right there. With the container, it's about 4 inches away. So I'm going to be putting this 4 inches away, kind of like this. So 4 inches away, and then outside 4 inches away from over here. So that is a legal place terrain, right? So that's just to give you an insight on how far you need to know where to place the terrain at. All right, now I laid this out already for us. The mission that I picked is obviously my favorite. If you guys know the channel, it's Secure Missing Artifacts. It's the bomb mission. So we basically get to put bombs down in people's deployment zones and stuff like that, or table edge, table quarter. So it's a really cool mission to show you guys how to place it, because you're setting up your terrain based off of the mission. All right, so this is a good one because it's got the cockeyed deployment zones. It's got the 5 objectives, pretty standard, and also it's got the mission where you want to be on this side of the table. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. I'm running my Black Legion competitive tournament GT winning list. So I'm going to be showing you how to kind of set it up based off of that list. So real quick, I'll go over the list just so you guys know what the hell I'm running. It is Venom Crawler, Abaddon, 10 bikes, 5 possessed, 10 Terminators, 2 units of Legionnaires, 1 character, 2 character, 3 character, 4 character, and that's it. So basically that's my list, which I'm posting a video soon about it, but that's my list. So I'm going to be placing it, the terrain based off the list and also based off the mission. All right, so let's get into first deployment. All right, you guys lucked out. We're going to be doing both terrain set deployments. So I'm going to be deploying on the aggressor side and the defender side. So I'm going to show you, if you win the roll-off, you get to place the first objective or the first terrain. If you lose the roll-off, you then get to see what you should be doing in contradiction to what the other person does. So again, that's my list. My goal is to place a bomb as soon as possible, but I also want to take over that center objective. So with the missions for Black Legion, you want to be doing either Dominions, Engage, Behind Enemy Lines, Killing Shit, Warp Ritual. There's a lot of Long War, right? There's a lot of secondaries you want to be picking, but I'm going to be showing you probably Dominions or Banners, one of those two, or Long War, which is going to be taking over the objectives. And then thirdly is going to be either Assassinate or Warp Ritual or something like that. So first thing, let's pretend I won the roll-off. All right, so Black Legion, they won the roll-off. Let's get into it. So I'm going to choose either this terrain piece or this terrain piece, the big one or the medium one, because the opponent has to be 6 inches away with another area terrain piece or 4 inches from the little guys. So if I can put this terrain piece, now this line in the center, every single mission has its own center line. So make sure you know where that is for you and your opponent. It's usually directly in the center, cuts the table in half for your deployment edge. So if you're going like long ways, it's going to cut in the center. If you're going this way, it's going to cut in the center. This cockeyed one, it's going to be like this. The other one that's really weird, it goes kind of like 10 inches, like it's the 6th mission one. It's really weird. But this one, you are able to put the terrain piece anywhere on your side of the board edge. Okay, I can't tow it in on his side. I can't do any of that stuff. This base cannot be on the objective. Okay, so example, you can put it like this. See how the objective's in the center? That's fine. But you can't put this piece on the objective. All right, legally it's not allowed to do. You can put it right against it, but you can't put it on the objective. So if I want to try and win the center, I'm going to be putting this piece probably right about there, right against the objective, and it's looking out this way, so that way he can't shoot through, so I'm able to put a lot of stuff behind the thing over here. So that's one thing, and now he can't put anything 6 inches from this. All right, so that's one way to do it if you want to go for the center. Me in particular, I don't care about the center because I have Terminators. I'm going to be Veilbreaker plating. I'm going to be getting to wherever. So my goal is I really want to stop that objective, or I want to stop this objective. All right. So for me, I would probably put this piece to being a defender on this objective over here. All right. So what I'm going to do that is I'm going to put this on this side of the ruin, kind of like this on the other side, so it's not touching the objective. And I'm going to put this right here, so that way I can at least start in my deployment zone pretty close to this ruin, so that way line of sight is blocked, so he can't get a lot of good angles on me. I can even put it a little bit farther this way, as long as he can't put something on the objective. Right, so if I measure like 6 inches to there, and I just put that right at like 6 inches right there, he can't put anything on the objective over there. So I'm going to put this right here where I can at least start right here, and then just walk onto the objective, which is right here in my ruin, and then he can't really shoot me because it's line of sight blocking on the first floor. So the first floor is closed, I can walk up to it, camp my guys right there, whether it be cultists or possessed or anything, but they're basically just chilling out right there. So my first piece terrain, I'm putting it right there. All right, now he gets to go, all right? Sometimes you're gonna wanna just put this out there just to block the center. Most of the time you're just gonna be like, all right, I'm putting my first piece kind of like that. Right, so at least if I get there, I can toe the center. I can do Warp Ritual from the other side of the wall. I can kind of just chill right there on the center objective and be like, all right, come at me, bro. So that's going to be most of the time. Me, specifically, I'm going to try and go over there. All right, my second thing is I want to try and get the bombs. So my second piece would be over here, but I'm not going to go over that yet. All right, so now we're going to go to the other side. The other guy, he's going to go and drop his first piece, which he's the opposite of me. He wants to get to the center, and he wants to fucking control it as much as possible. So he's going to put this thing right about here, which is going to be off the objective marker. And it's going to be right there where it's kind of blocking a lot of the path. So if I get any of my guys from here to here, they can't see me because of how tall this is. And also, every floor is line of sight blocking. All right, most of the time it's going to be the bottom floor, but with these, it's the big L's. It's going to be line of sight blocking, so we're going to put that right there. All right, so that's going to be this guy's first piece. He's like, all right, I'm taking over the center. He didn't pick it, I'm going to pick it then. So he goes in the center. Then it's back to my side. So now I get to choose where I'm going to go the next piece. All right, so I'm then going to try and block this piece from him, because if I have that piece just camping, this piece is on my side, so I can still get to it, right? I can just put guys on top of it, or I can at least just chill out right there. I want to try and stop him from getting to this piece, all right? So I'm going to either put this ruin as far forward as I possibly can, so that way if his 6 inches, he can be on the objective, but it's going to be back. So this is going to be pretty open right here, all right? So if I put this right here, I can't cheat, so I'm gonna go like right here, 6 inches off, 6 inches away from this thing, and I'm blocking fire lanes. So now the fire lane going this way is pretty much blocked. He'd have to go all the way out to here to try and shoot this lane. All right, so that's the fire lane this way, which then I can think of putting a crate like right there to even block it even further, like against guard or tower or something like that. But that's the fire lane this way. All right, so my 6 inches against the thing is right there. So my second piece would go something like that. But you got my thing was I wanted to place bombs. All right. So with my bombs, I want to make sure that my guys are starting at least right here and then just walking over, and now they're protected. So instead of that going there, let's go back here. So if my guys start, let me get a model out here. So this legionary unit, right? Let's say they start right here on the edge. When they walk over, all they have to do is get on the other side of this to place a bomb. So if they start there, I have to measure 6 inches. So like this, 6 inches away from the edge. Right about here. So then these guys that are lining up right there to deploy, they can literally just walk over 6 inches the back of their base, get to this, which is now in the opponent's territory, and then they can place their first bomb right here, turn 1. All right, so that's how I did it, was I measured the 6 inches away. Sometimes it's 4, depending on where you're playing. So if it's 4, it'll be right here. If it's 6, it'll be right there. So at least I can deploy my guys pretty safe, because again, it's line of sight blocking. So if I put my guys right here, the only way you can see me is if he's out over here, or if he's all the way over there. All right? So this is going to go right there. You could be even more defensible and just go kind of like this. You have to be 6 inches away. Kind of like that. You could be like that. But I'm going to be like this. So that way I'm literally starting right there. They can then walk 6 inches, the back of their base to the back of the base, getting to right there. They're now on the opponent's territory, and then they're going to put their first bomb right there. Next turn, they're going to walk this way and put another bomb right here. So they're just literally walking around planting bombs, all right? So that's going to be my second piece. He again doesn't know my strategy, but he can probably guess, like, all right, shit, he's going to start putting bombs down. I have to put bombs down, so I might go over there. So that's my second piece. Then the opponent goes. His second piece is going to be similar to my second piece, where he can either start putting a bomb down, but he kind of blocked out this from himself. Ugh. So he has to be 6 inches away, which is right about there. But then he also has to be 6 inches away from the board edge, so he can't place this right here. So he has to go over here, which he won't be able to place it. So see how this guy kind of like effed up his deployment, which is me? So like this could go right about there, right, 6 inches away. And then this could go like 6 inches away out to there. So we can go right there, but look how that's so fucking awkward. Like, why would you put that thing there? Because you have so many fire lanes. So he's going to give up on this side. All right, so he's going to go over here. He's going to do what we were going to do last time, and we're going to put this right here to block the entire zone. So 6 inches away from here, which is about right there. I'm not on the objective. So the piece is not on the objective. You're just off the objective. And I'm 6 inches away from that table edge right there. Perfect. So this piece right here is essentially perfect. That fire lane is super tiny. So you can only shoot really like right here. Now what I'm going to do on this side is I'm going to put a crate down to block it even more. But we haven't got to that yet. So second piece right there. Go back to my deployment. So I have this for the bombs. I have that for the secondary mission. And now I still have a big piece of terrain. All right, so big piece of terrain. If I really want my Terminators to be deployed and not get shot turn 1, I have to think about where my guys are going to be deployed in my deployment zone. You don't want to put all of your terrain in the center deployment area, because then look how open your backfield is. Like you have nothing to hide behind. You have to make sure you have some pieces in your backfield to hide your actual army in your deployment zone. All right, so you need stuff in your deployment zone. So I'm going to block off this back objective and be able to put as much as I possibly can behind this wall in my deployment zone. So let's make sure I'm 6 inches away from everything. So 6 inches away gets me to about there. 6 inches away is plenty on this side. So I can literally have a piece right about here, which I can deploy almost most of my army right here. Now this is something you can do with your opponent. Now if you're like about an inch off or a couple centimeters, you want to redeploy one of the pieces, most of the time your opponent's can be like, hey, no problem, just move it. Example, this has way too much room from 6 inches over here. Like I have so much extra room, I'm about 2 inches I can move this thing. If I was 6 inches away from here and I was about 5.5 from here, I would just kind of tweak this a little bit this way just so that I can fit this big piece. You make sure your opponent agrees, he agrees with you, boom, you both agree that got moved about a hair that way, so that way I can fit this piece right in the center. You can also pre-measure everything, so if you want to like, kind of like put all the stuff down just to kind of get an idea where you're going to put everything before you start putting your pieces, you're able to do that as well. Just make sure it's on your clock and not your opponent's clock. But my second piece or my third piece is going to go right there. I can deploy most of my army behind this wall right here, be on this objective, and also be able to threaten the center objective, defend that objective, and hop over to this terrain piece in case I need to move from that terrain piece to this terrain piece. All right, so that'll be the third point. All right, guys, let's get into the third piece for this thing. I'm thinking the same thing. I'm either going to put some forest over here, so that way I can get some dense cover. Not like that. Again, you only have to be 4 inches away. I can think about putting this in my deployment zone, block off that entire fire lane right there. I can block off this fire lane over here. I can put these over here. So I have a lot of options on this side where I want to be doing. But again, I don't have anything in my deployment zone. There's literally nothing in my deployment zone. So I have to think the same way that he is thinking, which is me, over there, where I have to be able to deploy my army. So this piece right here is going to be able to deploy a lot of stuff behind and in this little ruin. So if I put this here, I block a lot of this fire lane. So there's almost like nothing that he can shoot anywhere in this vicinity because there's no fire lanes. The fire lane is literally here or all the way over there. So it's so cut off from going this way. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I need to defend my thing. So I'm probably gonna put a piece on the objective so that way I can at least camp it right here. And I have to be 6 inches away from this piece right here. So I got plenty of space to put this, and I want to be able to tow the objective in the ruin. I got plenty of pieces, plenty of room right about there. Now look, I'm within 6 inches over here, so I have to back this up a little bit. So I'm outside of six. I got a guy that can tow right on this objective right here, and I don't even care about anything on this side. I just need one guy on this objective right here, and most of my army deployed right here. So again, I'm blocking off that fire lane, This isn't deployed yet. That's that piece. Go back to my side. God, I'm getting a fucking workout. All right. We got forest, and we got crates left. You have options with crates. Make sure you check with your TO how you're going to be placing the crates. Are you going to be able to stack them? Are you going to be able to do touching, kind of like this, stacking, touching, or separate? There's 3 ways to place the crates. You can put them separate, 2 different pieces. You can put them together like this, as long as they're touching, or you can put them on top of each other. It's up to you. I usually do it this way because you have a long piece of terrain that you can basically hide behind. They're about 2.5 inches tall, so you can hide a lot of stuff behind it. So now again, I'm going to be doing, I can put a crate out here if I really want to, block that fire lane. I can put a crate here. That might actually be too close to this and this, which it will. I can put a crate back here. That puts my cultist on my backfield objective. And I would be able to block out the fire lane, so there's no shooting this way. I can put a crate here. Blocks out that fire lane. Notice me saying fire lane a lot because that's the whole point of player place terrain, is you don't want to be shot because you place the terrain yourself. So what I would think I'm going to be doing is this in this setup is I'm going to be putting this back here. Now I want to be able to touch the terrain right here, so I have to make sure I'm outside of 4 inches from everything. So this won't work, so I have to go this way. So 4 inches away from the back is right about there. 4 inches away from the back is right about there. 4 inches away from this thing is right about there, right about there, right about there. 4 inches away, 4 inches away. So this is about 3 inches away here, so I wouldn't be able to place it. If you place it like that, they're touching 4 inches, 4 inches, 4 inches, 4 inches. So now I can place a guy right here, towing the zone, and it's blocking the fire lane. So if my guys run around this way, I can get to this side, I can go straight through, I can camp back here, and also this is usually non-breachable, so you can't go through it, you have to go over it or around it. So you can put these either in your backfield to stop you from deep striking and then charging you, or you can kind of use them as fire support. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this guy here, one of them. I'm going to be 4 inches away, 4 inches away, 4 inches away, like that. There we go. So there you go. One piece is going to be right there. I'm going to put one guy on the objective. I can hide a couple guys behind this little thing right here. And I can use it to either go this way, go around, stay right here, and kind of just block out the backfield 9 inches. So if I trail the guy back to here, that's blocking out my backfield, which is 9 inches right here. The little circle right here is blocking out. So if I put a little cultist unit right here, they're camping the backfield, blocking this out, and just kind of chilling. I'm going to save this piece. I'm going to split them up into 2, and I'm going to put one there and keep the second in deployment. So this guy has an option to do the same thing, or since he doesn't have a lot in his deployment zone, he might be able to use these kind of as hiding behind cover. So over here, we're going to be able to do the same thing, but except I'm going to be doing the bomb on this side. So we're going to put this out here, make sure that it's completely on the other side of the terrain piece. Kind of like this, 4 inches away, right about there, 4 inches away, right about there. And now look at that. This guy built a perfect square right there. So that way his guys can kind of just chill right here and just start putting bombs. So put a bomb there. If it's jump infantry, he can hop out, put another bomb, hop out this way, put another bomb, run back over to here. So basically you're on the opponent's side, which is right about here. There's a couple of room. The whole unit, as long as they're on this side, they can then put a bomb. So that piece, you can even put it back a little bit. I like it there. I'm gonna go right there. Boom. 4 inches, good to go, right there. And it's blocking off that whole right side as well. Let's go back to this side. I got the last crate. Last crate is gonna be back here, blocking off the firing lane. I'm going to be 4 inches away from this thing, 4 inches away from this thing. And now that's blocking off this fire lane over here. So if I have my guy here, he can only shoot me from literally on the other side, the left side of that crate. If I have a guy here, he can't shoot me. If I have a guy here, that's the fire lane right there. So if only my guy's sticking out right here is how he's going to be able to shoot me. But anything from here all the way out to here, I'm fine. So I can literally deploy my army right here pretty safe and not have to worry about it. I'm going to deploy my army a little bit over there, deploy my army mainly over here, and put my one unit right here so that way they can walk over and put a bomb down. All right. So all I have left is the forest on this side. Let's go back to this side. I have a forest left. So here's the defense of the forest. You can either, if you're Death Guard, you ignore the forest. So you can either put it in the center. You can put it in the back to try and stop a backfield thing, which I think for this one I'm going to. I'm going to put it right back here, 4 inches away. So 4 inches away, 4 inches away, 4 inches away. So basically this is right here. That's going to block out the backfield. So if they put anybody deep striking and they try and charge, they're going to have to go through this forest or try and go around. So that's a little defensive strat where you can put your forest in the backfield, or if you want to put the forest in the front field, you could do it that way. But also think about it. If you have vehicles in the back, as long as you're towing this forest, let me get a vehicle for you guys. Here's a rhino, but pretend it's a tank, like a big tank. If this guy is towing the forest just like this, he's -2 to move, but he's also -1 to hit. So if he's walking out to here, he can shoot basically whatever he wants over there. But if they shoot him, he's still -1 to hit because he's towing the forest. So you can use this as a very defensive plan in your backfield for your tanks. So a tank can be over here, you know, towing the forest. Tank can be in here, towing the forest. Same with infantry. Infantry can just be chilling on this objective, towing the forest, and get -1 to hit. So this forest is used very defensively on this side. And let's go back to this side. So I have one more forest, which I will probably be doing the same thing. I can put this forest here, which is about 4 inches away from everything. Now that's going to even put more -1 to hit on both sides. Let's say I'm not a huge shooting army. I'm going to want that forest so that way he can shoot through the forest and I get -1 to hit. Or if I shoot through the forest, which I don't really care about because I don't have a lot of shooting, he's going to get -1 to hit. But if he has to move through it, he's going to get slowed down. If I have to move through it, I have Veilbreaker Plate. I can literally go anywhere. So I really don't care about this forest being right there. So that's going to either help me offensively, help me defensively, or if you're Death Guard, you're just like, fuck it, I want my forest right smack dab in the middle of the map because I ignore it altogether. But for me, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put this back here to block out my backfield. Now, if it's your last piece, you're probably going to be like really close in space. So you might not be able to fit it perfectly with the 4 inches away from everything. So as long as you and your opponent agree, if you're about 2 inches away from the field and that's the only spot that you can place it, you guys could both agree that like, all right, that's fine where it is. Same with that guy, same thing. As long as you can place on the thing and you both agree that that's right there, you're fine. As long as it's not completely against the edge like that or completely against the edge over here, it's fine. Just make sure that you're at least as close or as far away from these things as you can, like 3 3/4, 4 inches, and then agree that you can place it there. So I'm going to put this right there again to get some bonuses to being shot at, also to protect my backfield. So now whoever charges here or deep strikes in my backfield is going to have to charge through some forest to get to my back line. All right, so that is a little defensive strat. They can do that. Another defensive thing is if you want to keep one of these objectives open, right? You can get, like, let's say this guy didn't put that there. You can put a fucking forest just smack dab in the middle of the terrain, like right there on your side of the terrain, off of the objective, and now your force is right there. You don't care about the center. You're not going to go to the center. You don't care about the center. You're literally just like, all right, if you go to the center, I'm just going to shoot the shit out of you. If you're playing guard or towel, that's probably what you're going to do. Let's say you ignore cover. You're like, hey, here's a forest dead center. Good luck. You can put it there. You can put it near this objective. You can put it on that objective. Do whatever you got to do. But that is a really good offensive tech piece, is putting a forest that you can see through. So basically this whole thing is now open. You're just going to shoot it. If you ignore dense cover or ignore the cover or whatever, you're going to ignore it anyway. If you're never going to go in the center and you have secondaries that don't need to be in the center, just do that. All right. Then he can only put his piece 4 inches back, which might not even be on the objective. That might be there, which is just off the objective. Right. So it's a very good strategy, defensively and offensively, even if you're Tau, to put your thing like that. And I forget how this was. It's probably like that. So there you go. So that is my full setup for both sides. And that is the mindset of how you're going to be doing it. Now, how you're going to be deploying, that's a whole different video. I did how to deploy your army video if you want to go check that out. But just to give you an idea, I would put my Terminators in there. I would put all my characters, in here. They're all just kind of lining up. I would put one Legionnaire unit, I already told you, over here. Can't be shot at. I would put my Cultists probably up here. So just kind of chill out there. I would put my Possessed as well out there. Usually my Possessed are chilling with my Cultists. So that way if anybody comes into my Cultists, I have my Possessed to counterattack. And my Bikes, I could probably fit my entire Bike army right back here into this big run. So if all my Termies are up here, it's about 10 Termies right there, I can fit all my Bikes back here so that way they can pop out and shoot whatever's over there. They can pop out this way and do Dominions. They can pop up there, do Dominions, and they can they're fast, so they can move really anywhere. Or you put them in reserves. If you can't fit them on the table, just put them in reserves. But they're small enough to not be seen over the crates. All right. And then the Venom Crawler is big enough, so you probably want to put him, as close to this big piece as you can, just so that way he can't be seen. He's too big for the crates. And over here, as long as your opponent agrees that this is 5 inches tall, which Games Workshop it is, WGC, I think it's true line of sight, you wouldn't be able to see it. So like that. He can't see through it, so it does block line of sight, but you can get more angles because it's a bigger base that way. So you can probably put this guy back here, or you just kind of keep him back here, trying to not get shot. But I would usually put him right here. Put your Terminators as far forward as you can. And I think that's my whole army. So one Legionnaire unit here, one Legionnaire probably back here, or behind this crate. Another Legionnaire right there. All the characters in the building with the Terminators, the Bikes in the back, Possessed, and Cultists over there. Venom Crawler right here, and that's it. So that's my whole 2,000 point competitive army. Now, again, that's my mindset of how to place terrain. Hopefully, let me switch for you guys. Hopefully, this gave you an idea of where you're going to be placing it, how you're going to be placing it, why you're placing it in certain missions. This mission's a great thing. Now, if you're playing like long ways or this way, it's basically the same thing. You want to make sure that you're protecting your objectives so that way you can start your army and not be shot turn one. If all of your shit's out of your deployment zone, if you're being super aggressive with your terrain and all of your terrain is out of your deployment zone, and you start deploying your army, you're like, fuck, I literally have nothing to hide behind. Like if your army is here, your army's deployed on the other side of this line, but all of your terrain is out of your deployment zone, you're gonna die. Like it's not a fun time if you deployed great in no man's land, but now your army's gonna be shot turn one because there's nothing in your deployment zone. So I think this is probably the best setup that I've done against myself, just to let you guys know. And I would be happy playing on either one of these sides of the table going into a GT. So again, when you are planning the GT, make sure you go watch my How to Plan for a GT video. That video is awesome. You're going to want to make sure you know what is going to happen ahead of time. The packet is going to tell you what the terrain setup is, if you can charge through ruins and be outside of 1 inches or within 1 inches. What I mean by, do you have the 1 inch gap in the ruin that you can't charge through the wall? That is Games Workshop. Or are they playing the WTC or ITC where you're able to kind of ignore that and still be able to charge through ruins? Make sure you know that rule. Make sure you know how far you can deploy your buildings from each other and also from the table edge. The GT that I have coming up, you're actually able to deploy I think within 3 inches of the table edge, or within that 3 inches of the table edge. So you can really deploy almost anywhere with the GT coming up, but it has to be 6 inches away from other terrain pieces. But from the board edge, there's no restrictions. So stuff like that, knowing ahead of time. And also what missions are going to be played. So if you kind of have an idea of where you're going to be placing terrain, Keeble did this going into LVO. He actually printed out each mission and an idea of where he wanted to put the terrain. Now that's kind of hardcore, but he had an idea where he's going to be putting each terrain for each mission. And sometimes it just gets thrown out the window because your opponent puts something down. You're like, fuck. But you can also plan, all right, if my opponent puts something there, I know that I have to put a piece of terrain there before he puts it there to take over that spot. All right. So hopefully, again, this video helps you out. I love the comments. If you guys let me know if stuff like this helps you out more or worse, or yes, you like it so I can get better, what content you want to see. There's a lot of suggestion videos in Discord. If you guys aren't a part of Discord, go join Discord now. And if you guys do like the content, Patreons are just how to support me the best, because then it just updates the channel as much as possible. Go buy some objective markers. They're fucking sick. We're buying more or getting more characters made, so they're gonna be coming out soon, and hopefully you guys are gonna enjoy 10th. I'm super like, shit, what's gonna happen in 10th? I have no idea. By the time you watch this video, if 10th's already out, maybe we're maybe we're all enjoying it. But my Grey Knights, I'm kind of scared about that. So appreciate you guys. Thanks for clicking on the video, and we'll see you in another video soon.